Okay. What an incredible sounding line this is. There's just so many interesting colors happening against that minor tonality. He's doing this over impressions over the E flat minor part. And from my analysis of it, I believe that he is superimposing countdown changes over it at one point. I say countdown instead of giant steps because there are two different formulas. There's giant steps changes and then there's countdown. They're based off of the same major third cycle, but the way that they're implemented is slightly different. So I will get into what differentiates those two in a second. So the way that the line starts out, it starts out with more kind of just straight ahead E flat minor with some chromaticism. And then from that point on is where I think the countdown changes come in. So to start out with just the E flat minor part, we're going to start with our pinky on A flat on the second string, middle finger on G flat, and then middle finger on D, pointer finger on F, ring finger on E flat. So if we look at that first part, it's the 4, flat 3, major 7, 9, and root. Okay, so. And then from here we have a little chromatic from the root down to the 6. So you do E flat, middle finger on D, pointer finger on D flat, and these slide down a fret to C. Let me see how I articulate that. So I pull off from the D to the D flat, and then I pick C. So, okay. Now from this point on is where I think the countdown changes are happening. So let's actually talk about how you superimpose countdown changes over a minor tonality. So when I said before, there's countdown changes and then there's giant steps changes. The way that the giant steps changes work is you typically will start on a major 7 chord, right? So in this case, it wouldn't be giant steps because we're starting on a minor 7 chord. Giant steps would be E flat major, G flat 7, B major, D7, G major, which is clearly not going on if you look at what he's doing in the solo. But what you can see is the first couple changes of countdown. So countdown is different because countdown starts on a minor 7 chord, where giant step starts on a major 7 chord. So if you were going to superimpose countdown changes over E flat minor, you would do E flat minor, E7, A major 7, C7, F major, if it goes that far. But once we get into the line, you'll see it looks like he's only superimposing the first 3 chords. He's going, and then he's kind of hanging on that A major chord for a little bit. So before I actually get into the explanation, let me just put up a little recording of the line with the countdown changes superimposed, just so you can hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so to me, to my ears, it sounds like it is following that sort of pattern, and he is hanging on that A major chord at the very end rather than continuing the sequence, and then he just resolves it back to the E flat Dorian kind of sound. So if we look at the line that happens, it goes. So what that line is, we start with our ring finger on B flat on the 4th string, pointer finger goes to D flat on the next string, back to B flat, and then middle finger jumps to G flat on the 2nd string. So those 4 notes are very clearly just E flat minor 7, right? Now right here, yeah, the fingering is kind of specific here. So then after that G flat, then I move my middle finger just up a string to the D note on the 3rd string, and then F sharp on the 2nd string with the same finger. And then on the 1st string, I do A, and I hammer on to B with my ring. So you can definitely look at those 4 notes as like an E sus sound, E7 sus, right? So it's like, definitely has that sound. Now right here, to me that sounds like A major, right? With a little chromaticism. So then we have A flat. Technically I should call it G sharp if I'm thinking of it as A major. So G sharp, G, and then F sharp. So I go like this. Pointer finger on G sharp, pinky on G on the 2nd string, and then I pull off my ring finger to F sharp. Then back to G with my pointer finger. And then the rest of the line just looks like it stays within that A major tonality, right? Because then we have E, C sharp, pull off to B. All straight, right, A major. So now we have, so to me it sounds like, at the end of the line, we go back to our E flat minor sound. And then all he does now, go up a half step. We left off on a B, go up a half step to C, and that's a brilliant way to weave back into E flat minor, because that's the 6th of our E flat minor. So we get that straight Dorian sound when we go back in, and he goes, does this little E flat minor 6 arpeggio. So C, pointer finger on B flat, middle finger on G flat, and then pinky on E flat. And then I put my pinky on A flat on the on the 4th string, pull off to F with my pointer, back to E flat with my pinky, and then you end with middle finger on D flat on the 5th string, pointer finger on F on the 4th string, and then pinky back on E flat. So that little not giant steps, I'm sorry, countdown part. So all together we have. So a very unique sound. Like I said, a lot of colors happening on top of the minor tonality. And that's a great little resource that you can use if you want to try to play a little bit more outside over a tune like Impressions or So What, or anything where you have just, minor chords going for an extended period of time, because it gives you this great canvas that you can just paint all of these additional colors on top of. So, even if you wanted to, you can go beyond where Coltrane leaves off, right? You can still, if you want, add the C7, add the F major if you want. Basically, any way that you can kind of just add these additional changes and figure out a way to weave a part of your line back into the original tonality, like he does at the end when he goes from that A major just so smoothly back into that E flat minor. So amazing line, a lot of really cool stuff to learn from it. So a couple more times. And, a lot of times when you're playing with somebody else and you want to try to superimpose a lot of this stuff, they don't have to play the changes underneath it to go along with you when they're comping, too. A lot of times, one of the things that makes the outside playing sound so cool is the fact that you are superimposing these changes over just the regular tonality. So, even if somebody isn't necessarily always going along with the superimpositions that you're doing, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It creates a really cool contrast between the two parts and just gives us some great sounds to, add to our playing. So that is the episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. And if you would like to donate and support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/MikeGaudetteMusic. That's our episode for this week. I will see you guys at the next episode. Take care.